So one of the first projects I'm going to do to this truck is similar to what I did to the previous one, and that's to go ahead and add a leveling kit to the front. So these trucks are set up from the factory. You may have noticed that they ride just a little higher in the back. The reasoning I've heard is so that when you put a load in the back, that the front will be level. And if you want an idea of how off these are, here is a level against the back of the truck. This is just over the back wheel, and it's really off by that much in the back. So out to the front, that adds up to quite a bit. So how much does that really equate to? Well, if you can see in the back, we're sitting at 39 inches at the top of the wheel well, and in the front we are at about 37 and a half. So for this to be level, we need to raise the front up 1.5 inches. And that's what I'll do on this one. It's a pretty simple process. It just requires taking the shock basically off of the front and then adding a spacer in the bottom. There's a couple different ways of doing it. I find that's the most economical, and it gives you the results that you're looking for if you want a truck that's level front to back. It's a pretty quick process. I'll walk you through some of the steps, and hang on and we'll get to it. So the first thing you want to do is safely jack up the vehicle. We're going to be removing the wheels. So I've put the jack stands on the sway bar. Next thing I've done is remove the lug nuts from the wheel. So we're going to go ahead and take the wheel off. Then we'll show you where we're going to be working in here. So basically we're going to be taking this piece, removing those two bolts, which will let this part of the suspension down. We'll add a spacer underneath it and then put it back together. It's a really simple process, so I'll walk you through it. So the first thing we want to do is this end link right here. See if I can give you a good shot at her here. Here we go. Is to remove this end link. And the way we do that is go ahead and get started. I use 2 wrenches. There we go. Break this one loose. This is probably the easiest way to get this one off. Is starting with this one. Then we'll go ahead, once we get this off, then we'll start taking apart the rest of the ball joint so that this thing will fall apart. Then we can go ahead and put our new spacer up in here. So the next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and remove this lower nut. I've already gone ahead and got it started. So I'll go ahead and remove this one, go on to the next step. Oftentimes you have to hit the joint with a hammer, as these joints kind of, as the way they're put together, you'll need to knock it sometimes. And in this instance, it came apart. Really what's holding it now is the upper at this point. So I'll walk you through the next step. While I'm here, I'm going to remove these 2 bolts that hold in the shock to the lower control arm. I'll do that and then move to the next step. As part of the new kit, it comes with these bolts, so these factory ones are no longer required. You can either set those aside and save them, or if you don't have space, throw them out. On the upper side, you'll also remove these, as these are no longer needed. The new kit comes with nuts and bolts. So I've gone ahead and loosened this one up. I haven't taken it off yet, just in case I don't need to. But I've also gone ahead and removed those backing plates that were on there, the nuts that secure the factory bolt to the shock. I'll walk you through what comes in the kit now. So this is what comes in the kit. It's your hardware to mount it, which is a set of 2 bolts on each side, washers and lock nuts. And then this spacer is just under an inch thick. It's 0.87, I believe, is what it is, and based on the geometry, this will give a lift of 1.5 inches to the front, which is what I'm looking for. That's all that it is. I'll go ahead and put this in and show you the next steps. Alright, so here's the piece installed, and then the trick, as with anything in life, is getting these holes to line up. And you put basically nut and washer through, line it up, and I won't make you suffer through me lining this up, but just line the holes up through the bottom of the shock. I'll show you on the upper side. Alright, so these bolts are now in and tightened, and then basically from this point it's just a reverse. Right, go back and tighten the bolts up down here, put your sway bar link back in, tighten the upper joint, and you're done. Pretty simple procedure. So really that's all there is to it. Have both nuts installed, both bolts, everything's tightened back up. We'll just go ahead and do the other side, and then it's stick the wheels and tires back on, and make sure you torque everything back up, not only on the wheels but on all your joints that you've taken apart. Other than that, it should be done. I'll show you the finished product. So there it is back on the ground. Again, you may remember we're just over 39 here. And here we are just over 39 in the front. And if you have fairly keen eyes, you may be able to notice that that front wheel is slightly out of alignment. So you'll want to go ahead and get that aligned. And then you may remember how out of level it was. Now it has just a slight rake, which is a substantial improvement. So there it is. Again, thanks for watching.